Howdy, it's Jim Arado, and this is August 2022, and that's Boone Tavern in Berea, Kentucky, a place I know very well. And I just thought I would put up a video. We stayed there the other night, and I thought I'd put up a video of the place now, and include some pictures that I've found of Boone Tavern throughout the years. And that's actually a really old, a couple of really old pictures of Boone Tavern. I think that's a postcard from my personal collection from early on. There was a picture that's in Boone Tavern also. That's a photo, I'm going to guess, from the 50s. And you can see how, the exterior kind of front area there has evolved over time, but still kind of stayed the same. And there's a photo I probably took within the last 10 years or so. But Berea, Boone Tavern is owned by Berea College. It was built in 1909 to house guests of the college. And there's another old postcard, I'm going to guess, from the 70s. And I personally worked there for a short amount of time in the 90s. My wife worked there also in the 90s. She was there all 4 years while she went to Berea. Oh, and there's an old matchbook, I believe, from the 50s from Boone Tavern. With that little Daniel Boone image there is also on one of the front signs in front of the hotel. But yeah, the college has been there for a while, and there is kind of the back parking area. There's an older photo I took probably in the last 5 years or so. They've done a lot of work on Boone Tavern over the last decade or two and renovated it. And just try to make it look a little more modern, a little more green. Another photo at night of that back parking area of Boone Tavern. And this recently we stayed in a junior suite. I think this is the second time we've actually stayed in this room. And I just thought I would give you a quick look at the room. And there's our bed. It's a nice roomy room. Lots of room to kind of wiggle around and enjoy our space. There's a TV. I don't think we turned it on once while we were there. A couple nice pictures. Yeah, as you can see, it's a nice big bed, nice big room. And there's a book about Berea College there on the bed. A couple paintings. Yeah, I wish they had more local paintings up, or maybe photos of the area up instead of kind of the generic classic paintings. And there's our bathroom, which is actually fairly nice. It's not huge, but it's far from the smallest bathroom I've had in a hotel. But it was very comfortable. It was very clean, as to be expected from Boone Tavern. Nice look out the window. Our view was pretty much from that area. We're looking at Union Church. Yeah. And there's our look out some of the windows. Just to give you a rough idea, we were on the corner, so we had a nice view of the college and all. But yeah, I worked here very briefly in the 90s. My wife was a student manager, and I actually met my future wife while working at Boone Tavern. And we try to get back down there probably once every other year or so. We'll go down there and stay a night or two, usually in the winter. It's a nice, cozy place to stay when it's cold outside. There's a photo I took of another room we've had here over the years, just to give you another idea of what some of the rooms look like on the inside. A nice bit of sun shining through that day. And there's another room. Again, just to give you a rough idea. Of course, Boone Tavern has had several celebrities stay here over the years. The Dalai Lama was here. Back when I was here in the 90s, I actually didn't get to see him. I wasn't on campus at that time. There's a photo that's actually inside of Boone Tavern, and that's an old photo they have up on the walls showing the inside of one of the rooms many decades ago. And there's kind of a postcard view. I'm going to guess that's from the 60s. Another inside of the room look at one of the rooms in Boone Tavern. And this is kind of a look inside the lobby. There's a little cardboard cutout there of Nellie Frost. and kind of a little computer business area there in the corner. And there's kind of another little nook off to the side, and there on the right is the new Frost Cafe. And that's a little space there. I've seen it kind of converted into different things over the years. Just a photo of the main lobby, and I believe I took that fairly recently, I'm sure within the last few years. And this lobby to me always seems very similar, even when I was going to college there. It's they've changed it some, but it's still very recognizable. They have redone some of the areas. I know when I used to go in to work at Boone Tavern into the dining area, there was kind of a different hall, and they've knocked out some walls and changed it around. But again, it's still very much the same. I know a few years ago through my blog. Oh, and there's some notes about some of the famous people that have stayed at Boone Tavern. There was a fellow trying to put together a blueprint of the main floor of Boone Tavern, I believe from a couple decades ago, and he was asking what we remembered about Boone Tavern. And yeah, it's just always nice seeing old pictures of Boone Tavern. This little mileage and route info tool, that's been in Boone Tavern forever. I remember seeing it there back in the 90s. And of course a little rug to welcome you into Boone Tavern. I think I've told this story elsewhere. I know once when my wife was working at Boone Tavern, she heard somebody bring up David Letterman's mom. And David Letterman's mom put out a cookbook and mentioned spoon bread. And my wife said something like, "Oh, David Letterman's mom has stayed here before." And then another lady said, "I'm Dave's mom." And my wife actually got to meet David Letterman's mom while working here at Boone Tavern. There's another look inside the Frost, or kind of looking towards the Frost Cafe. My wife and I have been getting chai tea lattes there on the weekends. And man, they do it right. Very sweet little staff people in there are just pleasant. And obviously they have alcoholic beverages there too at this point, and little gifts if you're interested. Of course, Berea was in a dry county for the longest time, and I think it was maybe 10 years ago they finally started serving alcohol and that kind of thing. And yeah, they were having a little reception in the main lobby one of the evenings we were here recently, and it was done up real pretty. I always think this is a bad idea, though. If I was going to have a wedding or some sort of a reception, I wouldn't want to do it in a public lobby. I've been in other hotels where that has not gone well. You have, people checking into the hotel, and they think that hors d'oeuvres and drinks are set out for them, and I don't think this is a good idea, but it was set up very nicely here at Boone Tavern. I do know some oh wow, yeah, I believe that's from the 60s. That's another postcard image. I believe I have that postcard somewhere showing the lobby, and you can look around and see how it's a bit different than it is now, of course. Yeah, and there's going up the main stairs from the front desk in the lobby. There are some books that note that Boone Tavern is haunted. I know during my days I never experienced anything. Neither did my wife. My friend Rick worked here as a bellhop for years. I don't think he experienced anything either. Patty Starr's Ghost Hunting Kentucky book has some stories, though. And this is kind of a little side lobby area. And by the elevator, I'm just going to do a quick swing around so you can see this. And yeah, there's the elevator. I know, again, during the 90s when we were working here, that elevator was kind of... it had one of those cage doors that you kind of open, and it had much more of a very, very retro service elevator kind of vibe to it. And, of course, they've modernized it. I love the window here. You're kind of looking out on again, towards Union Church there on the right. But this is just a cozy little, I guess you would say, kind of reading room. And then again, the stairways going up, the elevator. If you go to our left there, there is where you check into the hotel when you come in. And, again, this is just a special place to me. I've spent a lot of time here. And I know they still sell some of the old hotel, I don't know, key fobs that were used years ago. You can buy those as a souvenir. I've bought a couple, and I've still got my name badge from when I worked here, and I think I'm going to put those. My wife still has several of hers too, and I think I'm going to do some sort of a shadow box display. Just looking down the halls there, just to give you an idea of what the halls look like. I believe there's 3 stories, and there's a picture I took 5 or 6 years ago down one of the halls. I just thought it was vibrant. Very blue, very yellow. Those colors go well right here. But yeah, I still have my old name badge. My wife still has several of hers. And I want to put those in a shadow box, maybe around an old Berea Boone Tavern postcard. Of course, the kids that go to Berea, it's a work-study kind of deal. It's tuition-free. You've got to have a financial need to go there. And when I first came here, this was my assignment. This was where I worked, and I would later on become a janitor and a monitor and an assistant head resident. And there's there's a little meeting room. I believe that's on the 2nd floor, but I think that's really pretty. Again, good use of color, and just darn pretty. But yeah, Berea College, if you're not familiar with it, very nice place to go. Needs-based college, where they do not charge you tuition. God bless them, and I thank them for that. This is a look out of the window at the restaurant, and there's the Boone Tavern restaurant. On our last visit, we had dinner and breakfast here. I've had some great meals here. I would recommend breakfast. I always enjoy the breakfasts here. Dinner is usually pretty good. I would stick to ordering what they're known for. Chicken flakes and a bird's nest. That's their signature dish. Everybody knows it. It's good. Get it. You're going to like it. I had some salmon here the other night that was okay. And that's just me being honest. I probably should have gotten the chicken flakes and a bird's nest, though. But I have had some great meals here. And again, the little restaurant here, they've redone it some over the years. I kind of remember it going towards the back, towards the kitchen. It was a slightly different setup than it is now. And there's our breakfast from the other day. I think my wife had an omelet. I ended up eating that bacon and some potatoes. We had some toast and some fruit. Oh yeah, and the eggs Benedict. Yeah, get that when you go. I love that. And there's another breakfast I had on another day. Just thought I'd put that picture up just so you would get an idea of what the breakfasts are like. This is a great restaurant, though. If you go and you have a meal, you're going to remember it forever. It's great. Oh, and there's some spoon bread, which is what they're famous for. And they give that out, I believe, during dinner. I don't think they give it out during lunch, but at dinner they definitely give you some spoon bread, and it's kind of like a soft cornbread. I'm very fond of it. We had some fried green tomato appetizer, and that was really, really good. And check out the display. It's just attractive. And chicken flakes and a bird's nest. My wife had that the other night, and yeah, that's just classic. And again, that's what they're known for. It's great. I know when I was here in the 90s, they also used to go around and give... Yeah, there's my salmon. It was... I enjoyed it, but it wasn't hit it out of the ballpark. And there's some burgoo. They do occasionally have burgoo. Growing up in Owensboro, if it's not from Owensboro, it's not burgoo in my books. This was a very good soup, but I wouldn't call it burgoo. I did have some great vegetable soup there, though. Yeah, Old Talbot Tavern is about as far east in Kentucky as you can go and still find what I consider burgoo. There's a man, and that was a great steak, by the way. Get the steak if you're gonna go there. They used to have relish trays. I used to be relish boy. I would go around and I would have a tray of relish. It was kind of heavy. Oh, they have good desserts too. I would go around with a tray of relish and ask people if they would like relish with their meal. And that was all sorts of varieties of relish. But they don't do that anymore. And my arm would be very sore at the end of the evening. And just another shot. I think this might have been from 3, 4, 5 years ago of the dining area. And there's an older photo. And that is a picture that's up at Boone Tavern, up on their wall, I believe. And I'll put up another video of Berea College. I did a video where I found some of my old postcards showing some of the old buildings, just to give you kind of a then and now look at the campus. So please look for that elsewhere. But yeah, they used to have students go around with a big, humongous tray of relish, and would you like relish with your meal? And my arm would be so sore at the end of the night. And there's an old look in the kitchen. I don't have any recent photos of the kitchen. I did spend a lot of time back there when I was a student, working mostly bussing tables and being relish boy. And yeah, there's an old menu. Like I said, though, I still enjoy going to Boone Tavern. It's one of my favorite places to go, and it's part of it's the Historic Hotels of America, which is a pretty cool organization where you can look up other historic hotels and all. And there's a dulcimer made by Warren May from some of the wood that was in one of the rooms earlier, and I think that's really cool. Yeah, and if you've never been, Boone Tavern is kind of on the main square in town, attached to everything else. Of course, there's a historic area. There's a couple of other downtown areas. Oh, and there's the front lobby area where you check in. Always nice young people working there. But yeah, the Berea campus is very walkable. It's very pleasant. Yeah, there's Boone Tavern. Some nice area just to kind of sit and watch traffic and people go by while you're staying at Boone Tavern. But yeah, the whole campus is very walkable. It's very pleasant, and you can come over to Boone Tavern and have a nice meal. And if you're staying here a couple of nights at Boone Tavern, there's also Popolino's and a couple of other great restaurants to stop at. And there's the old historic sign there, and I'll leave you with a look. That's an old postcard with that same sign, or a similar sign anyway, on it. I think that postcard's probably from the 60s. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed looking at Boone Tavern Hotel with me.